Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day. I am using an old thrift store book that has pages ripped out of it to do a drawing with character. It's just a great way to practice your sketching. I'm using a light alcohol marker to map out the overall shape of the face as well as placement of eyes, nose, mouth, and any clothing that I want to include in the drawing. Once you have the features mapped in and placed where you want them to be, you're going to grab a darker alcohol marker and go over it again. You're not going to go over everything again, but you're going to add some darker marks to add a little more depth to the drawing. Once you've done this, you're going to grab another marker, a darker color. This is where I want to really outline the eyes. I want to really put in the shape of the eyes, the nostrils, the lips, and just get in there a little bit more to add a little more detail. This is where the face really comes to life, and it's so much fun. I actually end up grabbing another sort of lighter shade like a blue and putting it on top of the face a bit. The fun part of having an old book as your art journal is the words that pop through. It makes the face look really interesting. So now I'm putting in the hair, and then once I'm done this, I grab just a regular black marker and I start drawing in even more finer details to the face. You can use a Sharpie marker, that works really well. You can use a gel pen. The only thing is just be mindful of what you're using, because if you add anything on top of it, it could cause the marker or whatever it is that you add on top of it after to smudge. Many times I go overboard with my drawings and I ruin them. So this is why I like to use old books as an art journal. I am having a great time playing around with this now that I have my fine tip black marker and going over it and adding more details and shading to the nose, to the eyes, and just overall playing around regularly with your art supplies can help you draw faces with character. So don't be afraid, especially if you're using an old book as an art journal. It's a great opportunity for you to go overboard if you need to go overboard, or play around and experiment with your art supplies. Once I finish adding the fine details to the face, I get out my white marker. So I'm using a Fabre Castell white Pitt pen, but you can use a white gel pen. You can even use acrylic paint or white gouache. So I'm just adding in highlights to make the face pop, and I think adding white at the end, it's almost the end, is my favorite part of a drawing because that's when it really starts to pop. So I add the white Pitt pen and then I actually add white gouache on top of it after. Now that I'm done the main parts, I really feel like I want to make this pop even more. So I get out my gouache and I really want to add it to her lips and a little bit to her cheek. And then at the very, very end, I actually add a little gold on top of her eyes. I'll see if I can add a photo at the end because I'm not sure if I included that at the end video. But I'm just highlighting her scarf in red, her lips in red, and a little bit of her cheeks in red. Now I've got my gouache and I'm going over it again. I'm going over her eyes again and just any little tiny bits that I feel like need a little more white. Especially, I love that her hair is white, so I am going to highlight that a bit more. Then I get the black gouache, and that's a hat on her head, so I paint the hat on her head black and then the outside of her jacket black to bring it all together. Painting faces with character, you really have to play around and find like good reference photos that have faces with characters. So sometimes I'll just go on Pinterest and I'll look for some photos, or, you know, any family photos that you have, to find some really fun and interesting faces that have a character to begin with so that you can paint it and bring it to life. So I really, really love the final version of this painting. It was so much fun to do.